me go silent.
We are recording. So we are recording, Michele.
Are we? It didn't say.
Well, that's because another agent came in first, but I see the little recording thing, I think, here.
Oh, I already received a pop-up on my screen. It says the meeting is being recorded.
Did you? Thank you. Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay. Officially then, hello and welcome to ISSIP's semi-annual progress call report to the board, which is open to all members, all participants in the ISSIP global community. I'm Michele Carroll, Executive Director of ISSIP, and we ask you to please mute until and unless you're the on-screen speaker, and we very much encourage you to use the chat feature to share additional information, to comment, to ask questions, and we'll do our best to monitor those questions and comments as we go. We really would like to have a more interactive exchange of information today. So our agenda will be a welcome very shortly from our president for 2025, Deb Stokes of Dell Technologies. And Deb's going to share her vision, the highlights of 2024, and some special volunteer recognitions, and welcome our new ambassadors for 2025. So a big welcome from our president, and then I'll give a brief engagement report on 2024. What happened? How'd we do? What were the key metrics? And a look at our calendar for this year. And then we're going to dig in the largest, you see, two big buckets of time in this hour. Jim Spohrer and for Deb Satterfield are going to talk about the AI Collab, our academic industry collaboration, and the meat of the projects done in 2024, which is some really exciting stuff. We'll hear from updates then on our awards with Haroon Abbu, and the Give, Get, Grow program with Vaishali, Maine. And then Jim will share the latest on the handbook, the guidebook, and treasury report. And then again, a big bucket of time, the 15 minutes for hearing from those operations executive and board leaders priorities for this year coming. And then we'll have a brief, not coming, we're in it, priorities for 2025. And then we'll have Q&A and close. So that's the agenda. Please do mute. Please use the chat. And with that, let me turn it over to ISSIP's President 2025, Deb Stokes of Dell Technologies.
Good morning and good evening to those of you joining in all parts of our global ISSIP community. Delighted to see everyone here this afternoon. I want to kick off by saying what a successful 2024 that we've had. It's going to be a little bit of a stretch to meet and exceed what we've been able to successfully achieve this past year. I think you'll find, we've got some highlights coming from the leadership team and our board of directors and Michele and Jim. We will meet our newest ISSIP ambassadors. We've got some outstanding contributors that we want to, say a few special words about. And we're going to also, take a look at where we're going and what's going on. We do want you to feel like this is an interactive session, although we'll have some time for a Q&A at the end, but encourage you to use the chat for introductions, to make links, to share, something that is of interest that you might hear referenced during the conversation today. So we do want to hear from you and have you engaged in our conversation today. I will just repeat that our goals for 2025 are much like they were for 2024. We really want to make sure that the events that we schedule with ISSIP and provide to you all are relevant. And if we appreciate the feedback. If something doesn't quite work for you or there's something that didn't really add value, let us know. And also let us know, what would you like to hear about? What do you think some of the things are that we should be working on? Our growth continues. I think it's very important to know that, we're taking that scaffolding approach. Let's keep building up, but we've still got a very steady foundation that we are building from. And Jim will be telling you a little bit more about the strides that we've made in the handbook, the services rolled ops guidebooks that we have coming into play. And I also want to encourage everyone, we've instilled a new code of conduct, and we ask that all ISSIP participants sign off on that code of conduct. We want to make sure that we are mindful and respectful of everyone that we're collaborating with, and we hold everyone to a professional level of excellence that we think is it's not a stretch, it's just something that we all should practice every day. And we also will have a few words about how we are funding and getting the budget to do the great things that ISSIP is doing. And so with that, let's go on to our next slide. Oops, there we go. Okay, so let's talk about some special volunteer recognition that we have. Congratulations to Haroon, to Deb Satterfield, Christine, Vaishali, Cecilia, Rupal, and Yamin. These are individuals who have really done a lot with our ambassador program over the year, and we want to give them that special recognition. One more slide to go, and then you'll see what a wonderful job they have done to help us build out the ambassador program and really make it very successful. So let's go to the next slide between us and the ambassadors. These are recognitions that we want to provide to people who have done some very special events for us. They've led a lot of ambassador programs and events. They've helped us contribute papers. They've helped us shape some of the directions that ISSIP has been going in. And so I can just read off everything that they have done, but I would ask Karushi, Christine, Vitali, I don't think Jan Simon is here, Antonio and Kevin. If you want to go off mute, I would really love to hear you give your 30-second spiel on this is what I think I've done and this is why I think ISSIP is so important.
Shall I start, Deb?
Sure.
Yes,
absolutely.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the introduction. And thanks for organizing the meeting. I'd like to thank ISSIP for supporting us in one thing that I've been sort of chairing for quite some time, which is the HFE Human Side of Service Engineering Conference. It's upcoming now in July this year. And I'd like to thank in particular Jim and now Carroll, who are helping us with the conference, with the papers, and also with conference sessions. So anyone who's interested will share the link also on LinkedIn. You might still want to join the conference in July. And yeah, papers can still be submitted. I'd also like to mention Kazuyushi Shimada. He was the initiator of the AI impacts on social and global democracy. And of course, Michele and Jim, who supported us. It was a series we organized last year. We're working on the white paper still, and we'll also present the results in the conference in July. And we're hoping to continue this important discussion because we could only scratch the surface of what is actually what needs to be done. And we've also identified a couple of issues that could be relevant for research and policy dialogue in the ISSIP community. So that's all for me from my side. And thank you so much. And thanks for the support of ISSIP and also to Jim and Michele in particular. And unfortunately, Kazuyushi cannot join. It's middle of the night for him. So I'm sure he would have loved to, but it's impossible.
He's a good man. And
absolutely.
I'll pick up from here, Kevin Clark. I was also a participant on the AI impacts on global democracy. So I've looked at the paper in its state of becoming. Christine and Kazuyoshi are doing a great job. So looking forward to that. I was contributing some thoughts about how to use artificial intelligence and generative AI for governance and auditing and other functions. I also gave a presentation on customer wellness and fitness last year, and glad that everyone enjoyed that either live or in recording. And now I have another paper that I've sent along to Jim and to Deb and for consideration on how to harness AI for research and understanding sentiment in the C-suite. We're finding that that's very, very interesting how to extract that information from large language models. So I'm looking forward to offering that in the days and weeks to come. Congratulations to everyone. And it's been a lot of fun the first year that I've been participating in ISSIP. It's a great organization. And of course, all roads lead back to Jim Spohrer, who bought me a drink and said, you ought to know about this organization. And I'm delighted, Jim. It's great. Over to the next
Thank you.
person.
Yeah, I think you all are the only ones who were able to join today, given the time zone differences. But thank you both for sharing those. And I would echo Kevin's remarks on, yeah, cheers to Jim, because I think he's used that ploy for many of us to get us engaged in ISSIP over the years. Let's move on to the next slide, please, and let's talk a little bit about our ambassadors. On behalf of Christine, who could not make it today, want to really say, look at this amazing group of ambassadors. We have, thanks to people that you've already heard from, Christine's efforts, we've almost doubled our ambassador program since last year. So again, let's take a quick look at that. Look at the next slide that's coming up. There are so many people that are engaged from the ambassador perspective, and we welcome each and every one of you. You know, if you have just joined as an ambassador and you aren't quite sure on what path to go down, please reach out to one of us and let's have a conversation. Let's figure out some of the opportunities that we do have going forward in ISSIP. So we thank you for your past contributions, and we look forward to even more of your future contributions. So I think we had one more slide on the ambassadors. Or is no? Okay, just that one slide then. Okay, so with that, let's move on to the additional information that everyone needs to know about. What does our calendar, our schedules, and our engagement models look like going forward? So over to you, Michele.
Thank you, Deb. And thank everybody. I love the idea of our being more engaged with each other on these calls. So that was a key point I wanted to get across in sharing an engagement report. What are the key metrics? What are we measuring? And again, my thanks to Jim Spohrer, who put together all these numbers and monitors on an ongoing basis, started in 23, of just, we look at registrations, we look at how many have looked at the content after, which is really the way of the world now, in our virtual world, more people are chiming in later. So looking at our programs and how many have engaged on YouTube later or SlideShare later. And on our website, I want to just point out to everybody, programs, right? You can always look at what's going on in any of them. We've talked a lot about the ambassadors and the excellent work. I wanted to just say that's the key to our growth. We always say we're volunteer managed and led. Those 5, outstanding volunteers just recognized our why 2024 was such an exciting year with amazing engagement. So we had, in addition to, we talked about Kazu and Christine on this, the AI impact on global democracy, Vital and Jim leading that Penn State University industry transformation series. There were 3 events for the democracy series, 6 in the Penn State series. So huge engagement, registrations on the day, panelists, and then these views later, engaging with the content, right? And the most popular thing, this is order of views that Jim's put together, Mighty Me, the workshops led by Lou Freund, a little bit more on that in a bit. But in total here, YouTube and SlideShare later, thousands of views. There's some overlap, but not total. So it's somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 folks engaging with us after the event, which is really exciting engagement in the content that you created, initiated, and are making happen. That's what's exciting here. It's the program quality and content, plus the platform, right? And 2024 was a culminative year in the work started in 22, kind of learning, pulling in basic demographics. 23, we piloted a lot of things like the AI Collab. We piloted, and you're going to hear the success of that program from Jim in a bit. But we totally rebuilt our website, finished in July. That was all of the first half of the year, projects that are typically 2-3 weeks to rebuild a website. Massive rethinking the messaging and the branding and what it is we're conveying as we went, but totally rebuilt it. It's now optimized page by page for search engine to draw them in. And we're consistently in the top 10 for service innovation now, which was a key goal. We also branded and separately manage 2 separate pages on LinkedIn. Our main page, which now is 1,295 followers. That's a key metric we maintain and really want to grow. If you haven't followed us yet, please do. And the community exchange, a separately branded exchange, a private group on LinkedIn where you're welcome to post your work, questions, surveys, get peer review. And we have 652 followers in there or members of that group. And we upgraded and I think pretty significantly improved the look and feel and brand of the ISSIP News, which is every month, and we've maintained that publication schedule. The ISSIP News digest of what's going on and the social media are very much anchored to the website, which is our key platform, right? All the content you'll see in either of those, we're trying to draw people back to the website where fuller information and contacts to all of you are. So that's stronger, strengthening with marketing, the platform that you, operations leaders, and our global community engage with us on together really define great success in 2024. So some of the specific metrics in our traditional programs, wanted to really distinguish here, just kept going bigger and better in what we've always done, what ISSIP has done since 2012. Awards and credentials recognizing good work, in addition to what Haroon will share, the big 3, service excellence and service innovation awards. ISSIP awarded 272 credentials, 272 individuals that took the time to contribute, to speak, to write, to author, to put together that series of events and share knowledge. 805 in our history, and 30% of them were last year. So huge credentials, people stepping up to get engaged and build content, do the exploration that's important to you. We have the 34 new ambassadors. That's amazing. We have a total of 120. Super growth, and you'd think that's 120 professional networks growing, building awareness of ISSIP. In 2024, we published 9 books, have done 87 to the 2 collections over time in that partnership with Business Expert Press. We collaborated with the same 10 industry conferences as we did in 2023, many with best papers, ISSIP leadership judged. And those are our traditional programs continuing to churn on bigger, doing more, people engaged. And we rolled out 3 new programs. The Mighty Me workshops, been a lot of prep work in 23, but 3 events, more than 300 registered for them. And you saw those big numbers that engaged later. I think it's 47 folks with their LinkedIn URLs working on measuring their T-scores. And these 2 Mighty Me workshops and the Give, Get, Grow quarterly connections managed by Vaishali Main, you'll hear from in a bit. Those 2 are about better connecting with each other as we grow, which is really exciting to see people taking the time, and there were hundreds in those that took the time to come in and meet other new folks, new to the community, people who'd been here a long time that engaged to connect with the new folks. And then the AI Collab, very exciting work. And that we'd piloted in 23, and 2024 was the success story you'll hear about in a minute from Jim. Very exciting work. And the 2 event series we're talking about, what was different in 24 was we didn't do a single Discovery Summit we did 2 discovery series led by these ambassadors. So that was a new approach that really went very well. Deb often mentions that this smaller bites over time is what busy execs have time for, and it's helped with our engagement. So I went the wrong way. So I wanted to say all in all, 19 events all in all here. 726 folks that registered for them, and then thousands, somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 that are checking out the content later. So that's exciting, and that is growth. So where the goals, as Deb just said, there's make more people aware of ISSIP. They absolutely are. To measure that, we're looking at our followers on LinkedIn. So there's been in the blue here, and thanks Jim for this chart, since 2012, ISSIP's founding, steady growth in the number of people that have signed on to be official participants in our global community. We're up at the end of 24 to 1,994. And actually it went over 2,000 since that graph was made. And followers on LinkedIn though, I mean, check that out. Since the last few years, good fast growth. A lot more people have heard of us. So that's the good news. We have 1,994 now individuals, more than 1,006 organizations in 76 countries. And that orgs is companies, industry, also educational institutions, NGOs, governments, foundations. So those are the new stats. And I do want to mention, this is 1,295 followers for the main. There are 652 in LinkedIn. At this point, you'll hear from Jim in a bit about the code of conduct. We have 47 folks, most who, actually all, who sign up new participants in the community are saying yes to the code of conduct, but that's 47 in toto. So we'd really like everybody to sign that. Should be a bigger number when you have 1994 in the community. So there's a call to action for you. But that's a picture of our engagement and what it is we're measuring. And with that, I want to, I think, oh, sorry, no, the calendar. So this year, I thought I was way ahead of time schedule. We've cleaned this up, kind of rebranded it to go with the new website colors and branding. There's still a few things we're cleaning up, but I want to encourage you to look for it soon, the calendar itself, and you'll be able to download it. You register for an event and you can download it, and it'll be an easier thing to manage when things are coming up. But here's the rough calendar, same as last year, really. Our awards, the judging is now underway. We notify the winners in March and announce them in the spring. Call for nominations in the fall, right? Here we are at our semi-annual in January progress call. So looking over how it was the last year and what are the priorities for the coming. Next month, we'll be announcing all the things we're sharing with you today. So the new ambassadors, the outstanding volunteers, key schedule for the year will be announced in February. It'll be a flurry of press releases. And new this year, instead of July, the second semi-annual progress call will be June, the last Wednesday in June. A lot of you had told us that with quarterly and July was tough. So we're shifting, and with vacations, I guess. So note, date change. The VP election, be thinking if you have any interest. We'll put a call out in the fall for VPs 2026. The Strategy Council will meet in February. And again, at the end of the year, this is about defining topics for the year for exploration. And Vaishali will continue. She's already had the first Give, Get, Grow in January, and we'll do that quarterly. Our discovery big events this quarter, both discovery series, the AI impacts on global democracy, and the Penn State ISSIP collaboration on industry transformation. We'll do white papers published this quarter. And in conferences, one thing it is, again, ISSIP will collaborate with all the conferences we collaborated with last year. And I wanted to draw your attention to what Christine mentioned. Christine chairs the AHFE, the HSSE session, which will be in Orlando in July. And we're going to co-chair within that event, an ISSIP session. So more on that coming, but please do look for that. I'm hoping to be there in person, looking forward to a showcase of our 5 programs with kind of the meat of the work across the programs and who is ISSIP. Publishing, and then AI Collab, just to wrap up our calendar. In this quarter, we're going to be announcing the new participants. We've got some European expansions to the participants. And then very much as last year, we're going to again collaborate with UW, the FinTech Challenge, and more on all of that soon. And with that, probably a good segue into Jim's recap of what is going on with the AI Collab. And if there are questions, please do drop them into chat and we'll be talking at the end. Over to you, Jim.
Thank you very much, Michele. And thank you all for joining. I'm going to get into some interesting projects that we're doing with students. And I want to thank Deb Satterfield, first of all, who leads the AI Collab program. But let me back up just for a minute, because I see Yuming Zhu on from IBM. And Yuming, I want to make a huge shout out to you for all your help with the ambassador program. It's really essential work that you do. And I'm so happy that you were able to join the call today. So
Thanks, Jim.
yeah, there you are. And I know these are exciting times in the industry, and so I'm hoping people will take the opportunity. I see 1 or 2 students on. Students, connect with Yuming if you can on LinkedIn.
Also,
I always tell the students, Yuming, make sure when you connect with people that you actually know something about them. So say, I was on that great ISSIP call and saw you.
yeah.
Or go out to the Google Scholar and read some of your papers, or whatever it takes to get to know the people, where you send the LinkedIn connection. So Deb wasn't able to join, but she's doing a fantastic job at not only the HSSE conference that Christine Leitner's part of, but they're also doing papers on industry university collaboration. And some of that work that they're doing, I think, is really where one of the directions I would like to see ISSIP continue to make progress. If you look at the statistics, a lot of the members are students, a lot of the participants are industry professionals, and there's a few retirees like me, and that tends to be a growing number as well. But some of the highlights that Deb wanted me to mention is oftentimes when we run an event, we do a survey with the event, and those survey data are often analyzed by students, ISSIP participants. Deb's group at Cal State University Long Beach, for example, did the ISSIP democracy survey data analysis, and that's super helpful to have all the help from the students. And I do see Ratana on from University of Tacoma, University of Washington, Tacoma, who's one of our AI Collab students. So Ratana, thanks for joining. And if you could go to the next slide, Michele. I guess the big news, and we're going to get into this in a minute when I ask Scott Zimmer, the CEO of TempMe, to say a few words about his platform. But what we're doing now is pretty old-fashioned. And Mark Prensky, thank you for pointing that out to me in the chat privately. You know, it's old-fashioned, but it's important. But we can envision a future when our digital twins will be communicating with each other. And Scott has a platform, TempMe, that I'm part of, and hopefully soon when you go to the ISSIP.org website, soon meaning, you know, in the coming weeks, months, you'll see digital twins that you can have a chat with. So there'll be a Jim twin, for example, and you can ask questions about ISSIP to Jim twin, thanks to the platform Scott's put together. And Scott, I'm going to ask you to present in just a minute, but first I want to just go through some of the fun that I have at ISSIP these days is working on these student projects. As I mentioned, University of Washington, Tacoma, their master's, MS business analytics students have been great and helped over multiple semesters. Haluk Demirkin is on. He's one of our board members. He's our VP this year. He'll be president next year. He's at Amazon and University of Washington, Tacoma. He actually set up the relationship between the student teams and ISSIP. And in 2023 fall, they were using generative AI to create historic service innovation cases that are on the website. So that was great help from the students. It wasn't just University of Washington, Tacoma, of course, San Jose State University students, Penn State University students, Vital Prabhu, I see you on. Hey, Vital, thank you very much for getting us set up with your Learning Factory folks there at Penn State University. Your industrial engineering students are like off the charts great with the help they provide. In the spring of 2024, that's when the students worked on the first digital twin version of me, an avatar version. But having the chatbot version is going to be really, really cool, and that will be rolled out shortly as well. Fall of 2024, and we're still finalizing it. I see a number of people on the call who want to volunteer more for doing more at ISSIP. And I see Tiramala and I see Sweta. We are trying to get better at onboarding volunteers, and the student teams are helping us do that. And currently this spring, Marcus and Haluk, we've got the student teams helping us with a AI-powered course for onboarding people at ISSIP. This last group of students, and Ratana was part of that, she's also part of the current group this spring, we were looking at OpenAI's images of our AI future, where, you know, level 1 is the chatbot stuff, but level 5 is running a whole organization. And the students really got experience figuring out, because ISSIP is kind of like a little organization, right? Not as big as IBM, where I was from. But the students got a lot of insights in the challenges of taking tacit knowledge of running an organization and turning it into AI systems that can automate or augment parts of that. So they did a fantastic job. And at this point, Scott, I'm wondering if you could cut and paste into the chat and maybe say a few words about your platform. So Scott Zimmer is the CEO of Temp.me, a startup platform for building digital twins. And for those of you who would like to have a digital twin of yourself, you know, Scott's platform is a great platform. So Scott, are you there?
So there's the paste. It's an honor to be here, Jim. Thanks, and nice to meet everyone. I am maybe not your typical startup founder CEO. I've had a number of proud roles in corporate America, as Chief Innovation and Design Officer in banking, as Chief Experience Officer at Verizon, and I started my career out at Disney. So suffice it to say, I think ISSIP is great. Jim, you mentioned earlier that you had an avatar digital twin, and that what we're launching together is a chat digital twin. It's true. There's been a lot of different options out there and a lot of exploration. And what we've really decided to focus in on is the problem space of experts and the challenging reality that many of us have experienced, which is the experts that we admire most and the people who often want to help the most are also often the people with the least capacity to be able to do so. Almost universally, their knowledge is trapped. So experts' knowledge is trapped. Think of if you wish you could call up Tiger Woods or Condoleezza Rice or whoever it would be that you'd want to ask for their advice, or in this case, I'm proud to say Jim Spohrer. It's not easy. It requires a time sacrifice on both sides. And we thought maybe that's a space where AI can help. So my co-founder, Andy, and I have spent the last year and a half building a small team focused on this very problem. And in the crazy new era we're in, where black box AI is everywhere, and we're asking ourselves if we can trust it and what we can trust, we've taken the approach of a technology that we're calling human-centered AI. And we've built a core service that Jim knows called a knowledge hub. And that's where an expert can curate and give feedback in a feedback loop, and also control who can access their knowledge. So it really positions experts to scale the way they share their knowledge, and positions AI to answer questions on their behalf based on only their knowledge, which is a pretty refreshing difference. And we've had a lot of fun testing a Jim Twin answer versus a ChatGPT answer, for example. You may get a wonderful answer from ChatGPT or any of the LLMs, but they're always facing the reality that they're vanilla. They are the average of the entire internet. And if you're trying to learn from someone that you admire and respect based on their background, you really want to get that person's answer. And with our service, you can get that person's answer without booking time with them or inconveniencing them. And what we found that unleashes is your ability to ask as many questions and get as many answers as you wish. So with that, I'll just share that what I pasted is Jim has a knowledge hub, and he has a Jim Twin up and running. And the link in the chat is how you get there. You can sign up and interact with his Jim Twin and ask questions for free. We may be adding voice and we may be adding video someday. And certainly that's where the world is going, but we really wanted to get the content right first. And so interacting with the content via text really helps us refine that. Also, finally, for anyone who is an expert in your own right, and I'm sure you all are, if you're tempted to launch a knowledge hub of your own, if Jim passes your name on to us, we can help you skip the line, and we'll send you an invitation to jump aboard and experiment with this exciting new technology yourselves. Back to you, Jim, for any questions.
Great. Thank you, Scott. Yeah, very exciting. And I really do think your platform is such a perfect match for what we try to do. A lot of those awards and recognition we give are for knowledge sharing. And
Yeah.
awards last year went to students because there's blog posts of the deliverables they create, all the work they did with AI. So yeah, absolutely agree with the best thing a human being can do is help another human being know more. So thank you, Scott.
Well, it's exciting times in a flip way, right? Not just where robots will be answering questions for us, but maybe AI can help us answer questions the way Jim would answer it. So we're excited.
And I've already used the platform a couple times this morning because people asked me questions, and the answer generated wasn't bad, but maybe there was a word or two I would have changed, so I went in and edited it, so there's a curated response.
That's right. Yeah, that's one of the unique things that we can all go out and build a GPT, but you can't edit the answers a GPT gives. So we've focused really hard to make it very human-centered.
Yep. And I know some of the people here, like Kevin Clark, he's doing some great stuff on this, and Mark Prensky as well. So we are definitely excited about working with you and others on this exciting direction for the future, Scott. So thanks again.
Hey,
Yeah,
Jim.
bravo.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, this is Vital. Quick question.
Yes.
Do you think this is ready for a class of 60 students?
Yes.
Yeah, we have some classes on it today. We are still in beta, so we'll find some things as we go, but we're supporting professors in multiple parts of the world right now.
So, Scott, you'll be hearing from me.
Fantastic.
I have two classes. One's 40, another 61. So maybe I'll unleash both of them on you. So you can maybe have them
and
do it at the
excitingly,
same
that
time
means
to test for scalability.
we would unleash them on you, but it wouldn't bother you. They'd ask any question even while you're speaking, and they'd get your answer without interrupting the class. It's pretty exciting.
So, Jim, how would you grade Scott's solution at this point?
Well, it's early days and it keeps getting better, but so many of the design flaws I've seen in other platforms, Scott and his team have overcome. I'm very impressed. Nothing is perfect these days. I'll just add that. But, it's important for us good actors to use this technology and not just let the bad actors show that, it can be used in bad ways. So I'm really explore this and get out the kinks. And I found working with Scott and his team just fantastic. They're really super responsive, and they have a really good service design mindset. And Mauricio, who's one of our other ambassadors, introduced us, and he's been working on the design of this as well. And Mauricio, by the way, was a faculty vital, so he's got a lot of experience thinking about how this would apply in classrooms. So it should also.
He's back to being faculty. He's taken on 4 courses this semester, and he's using it in his courses.
There you go.
Who
So,
did, Jim, I missed the name. Who did you refer to?
Mauricio, I'll put his.
Yeah.
his,
Mauricio Manjais. He teaches at SCAD.
Okay, cool. Thanks a lot.
Well,
hires a lot of the SCAD students, so they're
yeah.
super good at design. And I'll just put Mauricio's name there. I think I am finished, Michele and Deb, and thank you both. And back to you. I'm not sure.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. And thank you, Scott. Very cool. Is Haroon on the call? I think not. I think somebody, tell me if I'm wrong. Is Haroon? No, well, long story short, is as Haroon shared in July, he had expanded in 24 the awards judging committee to Bhuvi Chopra and Yasi Mogadam also joined, and that was shared in July. And these are the award winners announced last spring. So where we are right now is the judging is underway, and we'll be sharing a lot more about that as soon as there is news. So actually we'll move on to I did see Vaishali on the call, to the quarterly Give, Get, Grow program initiated, created, and led by Vaishali Main. You there, Vaishali?
Vaishali told me she might have to give a customer demo, so she asked if I would just quickly do it. These, as Michele has already said, are our quarterly welcomes. We like to keep the feel of ISSIP like a small community where people actually know each other and trust each other and connect. And what Vaishali leads is these quarterly welcome meetings where recent ISSIP participants who've signed up get an opportunity to meet each other and talk with us. Everybody's welcome, by the way, to any of these. You just have to go out and register for them to get the invite. And Vaishali mentioned in this last meeting we had, there were a couple great quotes, so I'll just read them. It was indeed a great welcoming session. I have joined various communities, but personally, I have not seen a welcoming call set up to get to know each other. Looking forward for more collaborations. Another, I've been part of a few professional associations and have to say ISSIP makes me feel really welcomed. So good stuff there that Vaishali is our community lead helping us with. And the reason people join ISSIP is they want to collaborate on projects. And that's what they want to give, is their time and expertise in collaborating, enthusiasm for collaboration projects. They get professional recognition, these awards. The students really like putting the ISSIP logo on their LinkedIn profile, and with the link to the deliverables they create to show that they know how to use AI to do cool things, and other deliverables as well. And everybody gets to grow their professional network. And I always mention, because ISSIP's been around since 2012, I know people who were students in 2012, and now they're VPs of HR at companies launching rockets into space. So it's just wonderful to see people grow their network and go into all sorts of different directions as they become better T-shaped service innovation professionals. So back to you, Michele.
And next up is over to you, Jim. So the
treasurer report. So this is a treasurer's report. I would be remiss if I didn't thank Marcus Varg, who leads the Institute for Service Design, for his generous support of ISSIP, and Jans Neuhütler from Fraunhofer, also another very generous donor to ISSIP, both from Germany, which just as a coincidence, but it's a happy coincidence. And lots of other donors that I want to mention. Vital's on Penn State University. Thank you. Michael Turek, University of Washington, and Haluk. I want to thank you both. I don't see Heather here, but usually her AI assistant is on, but she linked us with Benevity, which is a way for ISSIP volunteers to log their hours, and then the companies donate to ISSIP, and we've gotten, nice donations from both Cisco and IBM through Benevity. So thank you, folks who do log your volunteer hours through Benevity. That really helps ISSIP be able to afford our executive director for our website and our newsletters, and that's the key expense that we have. So thank you all for those donations. And back to you, Michele. Oh, and it's the handbook next.
Yeah, now back to me.
Did you want me to take this, or do you want to do it, Michele?
Oh, that's definitely you, Jim.
Okay. All right. We do have on the form, when people register, they click a button that says they are familiar with the handbook and they agree to the code of conduct. How many people do you actually think read the code of conduct when they click that button? Not many. So we do have a separate link, and 47 people, all the leadership team, have gone out to that separate link, and where you actually have to, read through everything and put your name. So we're trying to get people to go out to that Google form and actually read the code of conduct, agree to it, and not just say, I agree, click one button. That's my plea with you all, is if you haven't signed the code of conduct for real and read it, please read it and agree to it for real, because we think it establishes. And Haluk, you remember, I think it was 2017 when you created the first version of this with Ralph. I used a little bit of help from AI to summarize it and make it more compact and word it a little nicer, and then ran it by the board of directors who've approved it. So I think it's in pretty good shape for everybody to go out and do that. So thank you all. And next slide, Michele. Okay, and I think I'm the first one in this list, and then we'll go, other people can talk besides me, which will be great. So Scott, thank you again for joining us. It's really exciting. Thank you, Ratana, for joining us. It's fantastic work. And Varner, are you there?
I am. Good afternoon. Yes. My goals, happy to be part of the team here, enjoying the networking aspects of it. And my focus will be the Benevity support that really benefits the sponsorship of this organization. So that's where I hope to contribute. And thank you all for all the networking opportunities that ISSIP brings with it.
And the next board member is, before we leave, Varner, that's so important. I guess I just, one word just to say, just logging the hours into the Benevity system, like Christine Ilyang, Yuming Zhu, thank you. And thank you, Yuming, for getting to know it a little better, and hopefully help Varner really immerse in what's possible with thousands of dollars from IBM, from Cisco, where Varner is, from we have more than 200 volunteers from each of those companies. So, just logging your time that you're already spending with ISSIP makes a wonderful difference in a much needed time. So thank you, Varner. And Gerhard.
Yes, thank you, Carroll. So as ISSIP is such a great example for a community of service innovators for service innovators, I think I would really take the opportunity this year to let this community grow, to let the knowledge grow, and let linkages grow. And the second thing I would like to do is raise the attention on the question how service innovation and AI-based innovation might contribute to a more sustainable future, and concepts such as the circular economy in particular because these two aspects might be of great interest for younger people, for the next generation. And I think that's an important aspect we should address. Thank you very much.
Very much appreciate that with the trends in global politics. To see real focus from this organization on sustainability as a topic would be very welcome. And I know it's what Christine's ambassador group, lots of people in there want to be talking about that. So heard, Gerhard, thank you.
You're welcome.
Vanita, I think not here, right, Jim? Not able.
See Vanita in the list, so she must have had a conflict, yeah. See Jeff Wells either, so maybe skip over the next two and go to, oh, and Christine got called away. But I'll read hers because I said I would read it because it was so good.
Please do.
Said
awesome.
first Happy Lunar New Year. My top priority for 2025 and the year of the snake is to stay healthy and find joy in all I do. And I love this part, or don't do. So she's going to find joy in the things she doesn't do. For ISSIP, her top priority will be continuing as ISSIP ambassador lead, working very closely with you, Ming. I know you two do everything, encouraging more IBMers to volunteer for ISSIP and to log their hours on Benevity platform as I do. And she is a great example, as is Yu Ming, of logging their many volunteer hours for ISSIP. So thank you both. And go to the next one, Michele, please.
Oh, hello.
We're next.
Board.
All right. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening for some of us. And thank you so much for joining this call. My name is Haluk. I've been involved with ISSIP since first days of ISSIP many years ago. But I just wanted to share my personal kind of vision, I will say, or thinking process. I've been as being a researcher, teacher, practitioner, and a student, I truly believe in value co-creation and continuous learning. So my top priority will be basically what else we can do to basically create and advance some scalable services to co-create value for our individuals and also organizations. That is, I really want to, and I really believe because of technology and things are changing so fast, I think we may need to have some different way of thinking or innovating different things in this changing world. And yeah, thanks for being partner for this organization.
Thank you.
I think that is now time for questions and discussions. If I could call on Ratana, are you able to come off to say a few words? Because you're one of the student volunteers that's helping us. So it'd be great to hear from a student if you're available, Ratana. I don't know if you are or not, but maybe not. Oh, well.
Actually, if we could call back Deb Stokes to do a quick wrap for us too and move into the Q&A.
Well, I would definitely love to have, if there's any comments or questions that anyone has that they'd like to go off mute and ask, that would be fantastic. I would encourage everyone to do a quick copy paste of all of the links and the information that's been put in the chat window before we shut down the Zoom meeting. Lots of good connections there, a lot of LinkedIn opportunities for people to follow up and make sure you're connected with other members in ISSIP, and definitely a wonderful load of information that has been posted on where to find more things about ISSIP. That, you know what, it's one of those, you don't know what you don't know until you go looking at it. And then I think you will be absolutely amazed at the depth and breadth of knowledge that ISSIP contributors have made in all of these various links that are presented. So please make sure that you follow up with us, ask questions. I've loved the interaction and engagement on this progress call. I think it's just, again, it's a step in the direction that ISSIP is moving in. You know, we're just not an organization that wants to tell you what's going on. We want you to tell us what's going on, what needs to be done, and how we can all make a contribution to make ISSIP successful. So I would say with that, any closing comments, Michele or Jim? And again, open it up if anyone else would like to do a quick question or comment before we close off.
Just to reiterate, it really is your engagement that makes who we are. So hoping that's come across loud and clear. We do have 6 whole minutes left. Please do.
I do see a note about the adding to Benevity in the chat. Absolutely. Please do, if your company is a member of Benevity, get your hours for ISSIP recommended there, or you submitted there, because that means additional dollars come into ISSIP as a result of Benevity contributions. And so definitely make sure that you follow up on that. I will confess, it's not the simplest process, but it's definitely worth pursuing and getting engaged so you can make those. Even, you know, just a few hours makes a difference in the contributions that we can make for that.
Let me say to you, because I don't want to mess up the projection here. Actually, we could, though. We don't need this. I'm going to stop share. On our website, one of the CSU Long Beach recommendations to us in the early years was add a search bar on the website. So it's there. If you go to ISSIP.org and go up to that little search bar and put Benevity, and up will come all the articles about how to use it. What's the link for checking what your company's parameters are? So FYI. That would be how to do it.
I see, Mark, you have a question. Would you like to go off mute and ask it?
Yes, I do. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. I'm happy to be part of this. I love Jim, and I think this is great. My question is really, what is this? Is this basically a networking personal improvement organization, or is it where all the benefits and the value add comes only to us personally, or is it an organization that's about helping the world and making change in the world? Because all the metrics that I heard, which are good metrics, are about how much better we are and how many more members we have and how we can give ourselves more money through Benevity and all that stuff. And I don't see the metric of what can we point to and say that improved the world, whether it's through us or through students or through whoever it is. That's a change that ISSIP has made. That's a change. That's a reason that we're in existence, because it's better, as you can see. Not we're better, but it's better.
So I will give you my 2 cents worth answer, and then I'll ask Jim to answer it because, again, he's the most experienced person here for ISSIP. I would say that anything that contributes to your own personal growth, your career growth, you know, how you share your experiences with the rest of the world, there's an impact there. And because you're part of ISSIP, you have knowledge, you have connections, you have a network that's building out that can help you influence and guide what's happening in your own individual spaces, be it personal or work related. But Jim, why don't you say a few words? Because again, you've got the experience and the knowledge here.
Well, Haluk was there at the very beginning. So Haluk, if you're you
yeah.
hear that?
Yeah, I like to mention, as you all of you have seen ISSIP's financials, right? I mean, as you have seen, ISSIP is a pure 100% not-profit organization. So overall, our mission is basically build a community and grow this community continuously to co-create value. This might be a co-create, and then we really want it to be a type of a platform and a community. Anybody can bring some project ideas or program ideas, and of course, because of a not-profit, it's purely driven by the volunteers, and anybody can create some interesting idea, and we can just discuss, talk, and come up small group, find the interested parties, and go forward with it, and then add some value to individuals or the organizations. And then we really wanted to say it's about innovation of service, which is co-creation of the value, if it makes sense. I mean, I know I'm not a very specific, but we can also send some specific projects we have done in the past.
Yeah.
And Mark,
Go ahead.
ask your question of Jim Twin, because I'll curate an answer there on the platform. But I love Haluk's answer, but I really like Kevin's answer too. So Kevin, what's your answer to the question that Mark posed? Or can you...
I was saying that, you know, the individual improvements as professionals leads to collective improvement of and building service science.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm just trying to play a little bit devil's advocate here. I don't dislike anything we're doing. I like it all. I'm part of it. But this is the same argument of school. That school kind of builds you up, and someday you'll get to accomplish something, and therefore you better go through school. And my sense is that it has to be both at the same time. It has to be what I would love to see and join an organization like this that said, okay, this year, this is the project that we're going to do and innovate in a service way. We're going to bring this service innovation to the world, maybe in one sector, maybe in one group, and hopefully it will expand. And that is what we did. And that's what we did in 2025. And then we'll do it again in 2026. I'm happy to know all of you and network with all of you. Some of you I know, some of you I don't. But I'd really love to see the organization produce before and after results.
So, you know, that sounds like an absolutely fabulous idea for a project going forward in 2025. And I'd love to ask, would you please be one of the volunteers who can help us make that happen? We can follow up with you later. You don't have to make a commitment now.
I will perfectly, absolutely volunteer if that project adds value to young people. That's what I'm concerned about.
Well, having read one of your books, I would say I definitely think you're on the right page, and you're right. Influencing the younger generation, the generation that's coming forward, is one of the most impactful things we can do for not only the future of service sciences, but also the future of many of our individuals and corporations as we go forward.
Totally agree, Kevin, and I'm amazed to meet somebody who read my books. Thank you.
So, Kevin, we're going to ask you with your hand up one last final comment before we close off.
No, I was just going to bridge to what's being suggested here. I recently published something that is an alternative set of metrics called return on relationships, right? It's the other side of what you see in accounting, you know, return on assets, you know, return on investment. All right. So that's good. But what are the human aspects of this? So return on relationships has a portfolio of indicators that are based on, is there a return on your intentions? Is there a return on the transformations you're trying to bring into the world? So Mark, if you want those, it's up on LinkedIn. But if you want to employ some of those metrics, you know, they've been in existence for over 20 years, and I just gave them new life. So,
okay, absolutely. Thank you, Kevin.
My pleasure.
So not only have we had a fantastic conversation with our ISSIP team today, we've also got some actions and plans for moving forward this year. I would say thanks, Michele and Jim, for setting up a fantastic call. It's been a win-win on all of the metrics that we use to show the success of these conversations. So thanks, everyone, for joining and contributing.
Thanks, all.
Thank you
Very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.